lesbians there. And we had a very long conversation with Afande Tom. I think it was his first time to hear the word lesbian. And it was a very long conversation. We talked from about 4 p.m. up to about 8. And after that conversation, they called his officers and told them, okay, these people have not done anything wrong, we can't arrest them. You let them go. But unfortunately, at that point, the villagers decided to get very angry and told him, if you leave them here, you will come back in the morning and pick the dead bodies. So Afande Tom called for us people from Chira Road Police, who took us to Chira Road Police for safety purposes. And when we got to Chira Road Police, we found the DPC and the OC there very understanding and calm, and saying, we don't want to arrest you, you have done nothing wrong, but we can't leave you to go because they might kill you. Unless council here can show me where she has made arrangements to accommodate you for the night where we are sure you will be safe, I can't leave you to just walk away. They will kill you and then I'll be what? It will be my problem. For me, it was interesting, first of all, how quickly Afande Tom understood what we were saying, because 3 hours, 4 hours is actually a very short time for this kind of conversation. It was interesting how open he was to having the conversation, but it was surprising and shocking that we got to a police division and the police officers were very calm. They were asking the transgender people we had with us, which cell would you like to be kept in tonight? Would you like to stay in? We don't want you to be uncomfortable. They actually emptied the juvenile cell because there was a transgender woman and they were not sure where to put her. They said, we can't put you with the women because, biological reasons, but we also can't put you with the men because we are worried about you. So they took away all the juveniles to CPS so that they could find a space for her to sleep. After so many years of seeing so much argument from police, it's like a highlight. Well, okay, also class pride, which has been doing so well. But that was a real highlight for me in the work that we do. It's rare that we hear such things from police. We usually hear the worst.
That's amazing. Thanks for sharing. Marjorie, would you share your experience with us?
Thank you so much. In 2009, we happened to test a positive MSM. A boy who was an MSM. And when we tested him, he had to start his art. And he was hesitant. People were not ready to start art. They were like, how come I take my art very well? I take milk and I do this and that. So counseling continues. As he was taking his drugs off and on. So one day, he became very sick. When he was sick, he called me. He said, where are you? I said, I'm at the Lagos Hospital. I'm very sick and I cannot move there. So I said, now, how can I do it? You come and pick me. So I went to organize a vehicle, went and picked him. So when we picked him, we brought him at Mapi, we treated, and we had to identify a place because he was rejected by the parents. We could not call any of the parents because he was rejected because he's adolescent. So I took that role. So I called one of the sex workers and I asked her, can you please help me? I want to bring so-and-so so that you can house him because he's sick. The sex worker accepted, so I took him there. As we bought some few things for him to take, the juices and water. 2 days later, the sex worker called me. It was a weekend. She told me that, so-and-so is very sick. Please come over. So I got my border. I went there. I found that guy is very sick. So we got a vehicle. We took him to Mulago, and then this time now we had to. It was near Mulago before it was not constructed. So I talked to the doctors, and then we got him a bed. So from there, I asked him, don't you have relatives? He said, I have my auntie. The phone here is here, but those people rejected me. So I called the auntie, and she was like, she was harsh on me, and I told her, so I'm in Lagos Hospital, and I'm the one who is taking care of this person. So she said, okay, I'll come over and see, but for us, we rejected that person, we don't want even to hear anything. So when she came, I took her to my office, and I talked to her. It was like 2 hours. Then she said, okay, let me go. So she accepted and she went out. Because she wanted to have other people, I called other 2 MSM. They also came in. So there were each one of them slept at night. And if the auntie used to be there during daytime. Unfortunately, to cut the story short, unfortunately, that MSM died. Now the struggle was, where are we going to bury him? I had to travel to go to Entebbe to meet the father and the other relatives. And they looked at me as somebody who is a witch, whatever. But I talked to them, I counseled them, and you know, because I knew him and I knew the history, because even me, I was heartbroken. So they accepted. I talked to them, I said, you know, if you want it or not, you have to take this responsibility. Because you are the person who brought this person on this earth. So now you cannot reject him at this particular time. So I called SMART people and Spectrum people, because we work hand in hand tightly. So we held a meeting and we started organizing. They accepted. So we took the body there at night. We slept there, all of us. And as they were looking, but for us, we were calm. Because I was there to manage my people, not to, to talk harsh words on them, because we had to bury this person. So in the morning, we went and we buried. So it was a very, very, hard, and was like, how can we deliver someone? And at the end of the day, you reject this person. You are rejecting this person to whom? Yeah.
Thank you, Major.
Sexual activity. And they said, okay, we see that, but we don't see the other one. But still, by the time the law came up for voting, even sex work had been criminalized again, and simply having sex with a sex worker, whether transactionally or not, was also going to be a crime. So there is just too much obsession there with controlling how people are expressing themselves sexually for it to really change. But in terms of policy and practice, I think we have moved a very... I saw the news, we arrested them because they are gay. What are you going to investigate to show that they violated COVID guidelines and dismissed the case for want of prosecution? So there are some positive steps. There's some progress that is going on there. We are having fewer cases of state attorneys sanctioning baseless cases against LGBT people that previously they would arrest you for looking like a homosexual. And then they arrest you and they charge you with having carnal knowledge against the order of nature, which is a serious offense. That's a whole, that's life imprisonment. And then the state attorney would just sign. So they waste like 6 months of your time, of your life, trying. That's illegal, they wouldn't have that excuse. The few police officers who are still very negative, they wouldn't have the excuse of saying, well, it's illegal to have sex with a man, with a fellow